Welcome to the Balanced Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Matt Southam. Here, we delve into candid conversations with entrepreneurs, exploring both their business journey and their secrets to maintaining mental well-being. As we navigate the balance of ambition and inner peace, I hope you find insights, inspiration, and invaluable takeaways in every episode. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Lottie. Welcome to the podcast. I want to start by asking you, why is recovery so important for exercise?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. And actually, I would say recovery is fundamental beyond just people who train, because actually it's really about taking care of your muscle and joints overall. And I think if you look at the stats, it's really scary about how us in the UK, but also more globally, there's a kind of a musculoskeletal pandemic, basically. You know, the numbers of people suffering with muscle and joint issues, chronic conditions, is really scary. It's in the top 3 issues facing the NHS in the UK right now. So I think there's this kind of sense that you can go and push your body. You can maybe start training for a 5K, or you can start training for a marathon, or whatever it is. And I think typically people do that. They might download a training plan for the marathon or the 5K. They might even look at their nutrition, and they sort of just expect their body to go along with them. And really that's where the issue lies. So kind of like 65% of people who run will get injured every single year. And there's a lack of education about how to take care of your body. So at Maya Master, my brand, we're on a mission to make recovery super accessible, super simple, also to make it inspirational. So we talk about wanting to be the Nike of recovery, and what that really means is to make recovery not the boring bit that everybody avoids because they don't have time and they don't really know how to do it. And stretching is like, I haven't got time for that at the end of my training session. I'll go get the kids to school or whatever it is. It's something that you take pleasure in doing, and hopefully by showcasing the fact that it makes you a better athlete. And also, you know, really importantly, it prolongs the amount of time you can keep doing sport that you love. You know, how many people do we know who get to a certain age and can't do a sport anymore because their body just won't allow them? And so it's really about taking care of your body, keeping it in kind of optimum condition so you can keep exercising, keep feeling good for as long as possible.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And on a, for real competitive athletes or people training for a specific thing, I assume the quicker the recovery, the quicker you can get back to training, and therefore your training intensity can go up. Is that correct? Or
yeah, I mean, at a simple level, that's a great way to explain it. Beyond that, I think there's a real lack of understanding about how recovery has not just an impact on preventing injury, but actually a massive impact on improving performance. And if you look at the elite sports world, you know, my husband was a professional athlete for 16 years, and he, at the start of his career, you know, it would be like a quick jog up and down the pitch, and that was the warm up and cool down, basically. And now, you know, as the teams there have got more educated about the power of recovery, it's a huge part of what they do at training. And that's exactly the same, if not more, for the kind of everyday athlete who's not got a team of professionals supporting them. Like, if you take care of your body, if you recover quickly, exactly that, you can go out and train with more power, your body's in optimum condition. So you're ultimately a better athlete at whatever level that you're training. So it's about performance as well as injury prevention.
Yeah. And I guess for lots of people, I mean, I'm now, I hate to admit it, I'm into my 40s, and I have noticed that a workout actually to recover from that takes longer than it did when I was 20. You know, I could go and play football and then go for a run, then hit the gym, and, you know, and then still have a load of beer on a Friday night and actually still perform on a Saturday. Nowadays, that's gone. And I guess part of that is age, but also part of that is the comfort that we live in, or the sedentary lifestyle. If I sit at a desk quite a lot, and would you say actually we're not moving enough, and therefore our bodies are struggling as well? Does that come into play?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt. I'm as guilty of it as anybody is. We sit at our desks for 8-9 hours a day, and then we go do a workout for an hour and think that that's enough movement. And it categorically isn't. Like, you know, if we think of, you know, the way we've evolved in terms of our behaviors in society, obviously our ancestors were moving all of the time. It was just, wouldn't even think about doing it because it was so built into the way that you lived. You just had to move all the time. And now as we're getting older, it's even difficult for people to get up and down from the floor, because that's a movement that we just don't perform ever really in our lives. So yeah, there's a real need for more movement, and not even in the terms of like extreme exercise or like really training, but just generally moving around more in our day-to-day life. It's definitely having a huge impact on us. And actually one of the things we're seeing most is that people are suffering with really bad issues around their neck and spines, because we spend all our lives like either hunched over a computer or using our phones. So there's huge issues around how we move.
Yeah, just the technology that's come about and the way we work. I mean, that's just changed massively in 100 years or so. I did hear a stat. It was something like our average step count used to be, around 20,000. That was an average for most people.
That was like not trying. That was just living your life.
That was just living your life. And, some days I look at my step count and I'm like, oh dear, well, to be fair, I've gone from here to the kettle,
Yeah, exactly. If you haven't actively made an effort to go out on a walk or something, you won't get your steps in. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So take me right back. Where did MyoMaster come from? And as you know, before that, tell me a little bit about your background, because you were in advertising prior to starting the brand. So tell me about your early days in work and advertising, and then how this new business developed.
Yeah. So I started off in PR and communications. I went into that when I graduated from uni, and very quickly realized that I thought that the actual act of just working on PR I did a lot of kind of startups and scale ups, and just doing their PR wasn't exciting enough for me. I wanted to be part of the businesses, and we'd often be doing stuff around their annual reports or how they were scaling up, or new members of the team or new products, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to be just telling the newspapers about it. I want to be in it, doing it. I just love talking to the entrepreneurs and listening to the stories of the businesses. So I went to quit, and I sort of said, guys, I'm leaving. I'm going to go and do something a bit more entrepreneurial. And the CEO of the business I was working at the time kind of came to me and said, look, don't go. We're going to scale this business from, I think it was about like 40 to 50 people when I was there. And we're going to scale it up to be a global business. We're going to do some M&A. We're going to take on private equity. Like, we're really going to scale this PR business. And I want you to sit alongside me on the journey. So I literally did that for 5 years. I sat next to him as we scaled it. So I think when I left, it was about 250 people doing about like 45 million of revenue.
Wow.
So we really went on. I did M&A. I worked out the whole culture plan for the business. I did all the new business. Just really scaled the business and built it alongside him. And he shared everything with me, all of the financials, everything that was going wrong. So I really got an insight into like literally how you build a business from a relatively early stage. And then I got headhunted to join MSC Saatchi, which was really exciting because it's obviously like one of the most kind of esteemed agencies in the world. And they have an amazing history, and they've done some incredible campaigns. I went to join the board of part of that business, and it was really exciting time for me. So I was doing that, and at the same time, I kind of still had this entrepreneurial desire. And MSC Saatchi was a much bigger business than the business I'd come from. There were over 1,000 people. And although it was exciting to be at an agency like that, I kind of lost that sense of entrepreneurialism, really, because they were such a big agency. I was craving that. So at that point, my husband and I were both like, what can we do? And we were listing out, I think we still got the list of like, as I think a lot of people do, like we had like 25 ideas from, a series of pizza vans called Gelotti to like, some terrible ideas. But I think like when you open your mind to the universe and think you want something, an idea to come to you, then it does. And so then MyoMaster, the idea kind of just came. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, and you've scaled it from, you offer quite a few different products now, and you are scaling. You just mentioned, we're in the Black Friday sort of period, so there's a bit of a boom. How have you found growing the business from literally a startup to what you are now? Yeah,
I think it's entirely different building a business from your kitchen table and scaling it yourself than it is doing it when it's not yours. Even though I had experience of doing it in the first business I worked in, it's very different when the responsibility is entirely on your shoulders, when you've invested your life savings, when everything is your responsibility. Ultimately, the buck stops with you.
Yeah.
It's a completely different experience. So I always say to people, like, it's been the ride of my life. Like, it really has. I don't regret it at all. We've had an amazing journey, and actually we're really entering a period now where it's just really joyful because we're growing a lot, and it feels all positive and lots of people coming to us with opportunities, and everything we sort of envisioned from the beginning, which was to become the home of sports recovery, is sort of becoming a reality because, as you mentioned, like, we've really expanded the range and lots of exciting things happening. But there was definitely the first sort of 2 years were extremely difficult and a bit dark, to be honest, just really hard.
Yeah. How did you deal with that pressure? Because, I mean, I've done a similar thing of growing a business. And like you say, when it's all on your shoulders, especially when you start to bring other people in. So one, there's the financial of literally, this is my life. But equally, when you start building a team, you're like, if things go wrong, people are out of a job.
Exactly.
How did you deal with that pressure?
To be honest, at the beginning, not well. I had my son at the same time as launching the business. So, and in hindsight, that was an incredibly stupid thing to do because it's like two of the hardest things you can do at exactly the same time. So it was a lot of pressure. I would say I think you get resilient really quickly when you run a business. Like, you get knocked down so often, it just becomes like part of the process. And a good way for me to sort of explain that is that I remember in our first year, we went to raise some money, and every time I got rejected, it was like, the world had ended, and I felt awful, and I thought the idea was terrible, and I believed everything they said. And we just closed around now, kind of 2 years later, and I'm like, okay, if they said no next, like, you just become really resilient running a business. And I think it's great for building up those skills, but also just learning to have a bit more balance. I think when you first start, you're kind of totally consumed with it. But you have to zoom out and realize that, like, as much as you want the business to succeed and you're deeply passionate about it, it's not your entire life.
No, but I mean, you're quite into your fitness yourself. So obviously some of that business, pleasure, some of that starts to tie together. How do you separate making sure I'm either working or I'm exercising or I'm recovering, because it is intertwined a little bit, but how do you sort of mentally, switch off?
Yeah, I think if you're going to start a business and you want to scale it, so, beyond it being a lifestyle business, I think there has to be an acceptance that it is going to be relatively consuming for a certain amount of time. And I think that's something that maybe people aren't warned about enough before they start. I think it's just the truth that you have to make a lot of sacrifices. And for the first 2 years, like, I didn't really see my friends at all, really. And I did nothing apart from, like, look after my kid, train, and work on this business. And it's got a little bit better now because we just are a bit bigger. And so it gets a little bit easier in terms of, like, having a few more people and that kind of thing. But I think for me, it was just, like, really accepting that this was going to take up a lot of my time, and it was going to be my biggest priority apart from my child. And also just telling people around you, like, my family have been great, and I've been like, guys, I'm sort of tapping out for a bit because I'm really focused on doing this, and to have some great cheerleaders around you who sort of understand that.
Yeah, having support from other people, I think, is really key, because someone once said to me, business is a lonely place. And I think we get consumed with all of the thoughts, and sometimes you don't even share them with your partners or certainly close friends, because everyone has stuff going on in their life, and you feel like, oh, I'm just bombarding you with my problems, and we hold them ourselves. But certainly for you, running a business and bringing up a young child at the same time, but not distancing yourself from your friends, but not being, not having the time available to see them. That is a tough time, and I think
it is. And the thing is about having clarity, like, about what you want. And I know that I've done this through periods, I've taken my foot off the gas a little bit sometimes and been like, I need to spend more time with my friends and blah blah blah. But I think the people who are most happy are the people who really understand what it is that makes them tick. And what their goals really are. And it's completely different for everyone. And I've got lots of friends who are like, I just want to stay at home with my child and have babies and like make the home amazing and give them an amazing childhood and be with them. And I'm like, you know that. So like, go do that. And I couldn't think of anything worse. Like, I'm really ambitious. I want to build an amazing business. I want to do lots of speaking and go out and inspire other people. Like, that's what gets me up in the morning. So I know that. So I can say, look, I'm willing to sacrifice a few relationships because ultimately that's what makes me happy. I think as long as you know that and you're at peace with that, it's okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Knowing yourself and having clarity on what you're trying to achieve actually gives you real focus. It's when we're not quite sure what we're meant to be doing. We try and do everything, and you can't.
You can't, exactly. Something has to give somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah. I love using sports analogies, and quite often I say there's at times where I don't want out of the bit. I just need to sit on the sub bench for a little bit. Of just I'm still in the team. I'm still
right now. Yeah.
But we just need a little bit of time, and actually recovery is probably that key one for me to perform best in business. I need to be in my best as a person, and actually just working through sometimes isn't the right way. Taking stock, having a rest and recover. Yeah,
I think the routine is really important, and again, like knowing your goals, knowing your body is really important. So I got into a phase a bit when I started where I was following all of these sort of like 25 to 30-year-old like male entrepreneurs who would just like, work all night, and they were constant, or at least what they presented was that they were constantly working. And I was sort of comparing my own routine to them for a long time because it's kind of just like this hustle culture thing. But I can't work like that. Like, I have to I have to have 7 to 8 hours sleep, else I don't function and I don't work effectively. And I have to exercise every day because otherwise I'm not very nice. And also, like, I've got a child and I've got a home to run. So I have to carve out some time for that because, I have to spend time with him and be with him. So I think it's, again, the same as knowing your goals. It's about knowing what makes you effective and what makes you productive. And, me having one complete day away from the business a week, hanging out with my kid is really important to me. And it makes me so much better on a Monday. So yeah, you've got to understand yourself, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, with the whole, whether it's the hustle culture or who you follow and who you look up to. I've quite often looked at things and they've set out their morning routine, and I like a bit of routine, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, hang on a minute, my morning routine is trying to find someone's school shoes, which they had yesterday, but they've somehow lost them overnight. And I've also done some toast, but I've cut it the wrong way. And I'm like, people don't understand, where someone else is like,
you don't have that, you can't possibly explain.
No, they're like, you've got to journal for this, you've got to do this. And I'm like, hang on, that's not my life. It's just not going to happen. But equally, I do like some routine, and I schedule in exercise. I know that if I go if the period's too long between a workout, then I get grumpy, and but I know that about myself, and I'm actually quite honest about it with friends and my partner. Just like, look, I've got to have a couple of hours out. I need to go and do this because otherwise you're actually not going to like me tomorrow.
Right, that's me all like 100.
So fitness is obviously a big thing. Bringing up your son's a massive thing, and growing your business. What's next for growing the business? Well, because you have expanded your range, haven't you?
Yeah. So, really for us, we wanted to build one of the most inspiring fitness brands on the planet, and we want Maya Master to be global, and we want to give the everyday athlete everything they need to recover. That's our ultimate goal. And I'd say what we've done really well over the past, it's been about 2.5 years since we started doing this properly. And what we've done really well in the last 2.5 years is stay really true to that vision. So as you said, the range has really expanded. We've now got really loyal customers who come back to us every time we launch something new. I think we've done a really good job of creating an inspiring brand. All of our content is always about like, how can you be better? Getting people excited about recovering and training and achieving their crazy goals. That's kind of our dream. So we've done that really well. We just raised around, we got backing from Google and a number of really exciting athletes and entrepreneurs. We have got some super exciting things coming up next year that I can't tell you about.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the main goals are global expansion, because we're getting a lot of interest from everyday athletes overseas, and we want to be able to service them and bring them into our community. Secondly, it's about like making sure everything we do is about getting people excited about exercise and what an amazing thing that can bring to their lives. And for us, like selling a product is really important, obviously. What makes the business tick.
Yeah.
But it's just about so much more than that. Like, you know, Joe, my co-founder, is a professional athlete, has always been passionate about sport. And I've always loved and played a lot of sport as an everyday athlete. And it's changed my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like our bigger purpose, is to get people to unlock their true potential, really.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I really do. I'm just going to comment on that because I love the fact that, yes, ambitious about growing the business. You know, everyone's got to eat. You know, there needs to be profit coming in and things like that. But actually, that to have a bigger purpose that other people within your team and anyone looking at business can buy into. That actually for that, and I love the saying "everyday athlete." You know, we're all at a different level. You know,
Yeah,
what I'm training for now is so that I can still move when I'm 70 and 80. I'm not competing professionally, but I don't need to, and I'm doing it for myself. So I'm an everyday athlete. I love that saying.
Thank you. So yeah, I think next year is going to be. This year's been phenomenal for us. We've grown, 100% year on year. And it's really brought the vision to life. And next year, we've got some really exciting things coming up, some TV stuff, which is really exciting, and just stuff which I think will really take the brand to the next level in terms of awareness and people sort of becoming part of the community. So, that's it, really. Just keep on building.
That's really cool. I'm going to ask you a bit more of a personal question about yourself and your journey. Ice bath. Because I've seen that you tried it. How are you doing with that? Are you getting on with it?
But like, I still pull those faces every single time I get in it, even though I've done it a million times now. I still hyperventilate and look really scared. And that's like the first 15 seconds. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it to sell a product. The first 15 seconds are horrendous. Like, there's no two ways about it. But I really do get this kind of sense of peace that washes over me after about 25 seconds. When my breathing totally calms down, like real mental clarity. And I do about 2 minutes a time. My co-founder Joe does like 5. And I do 2 minutes. And I honestly get out of there and feel euphoric. And that's not just my personal experience. The data behind that, behind ice baths, is just incredible. Like 300% dopamine increase, which is likened, I'm sure you've seen the thing, everyone keeps repeating this back to me, but it's likened to taking a line of cocaine in the sense, the rush that you get and the feeling that you get, but obviously without any of the horrible side effects. It's an incredible thing to do first thing in the morning. I know people think it's crazy, but our community, like I said, is about unlocking your full potential. And I think ice baths are an incredible way to do that if it's your thing, if you can stand the first 15 seconds.
Yeah, no, I almost daily, probably 4 or 5 times a week will go in the morning and into mine. And I completely agree with you. I often joke to people that that first 15 seconds is when I make up these combined swear words. And, because you're like, what am I doing? But you settle into it. And there's, it is, it takes out the comfort zone. It actually really sets you up for the day. So anyone listening or watching, do go and look at the MyoMaster.
Yeah, MyoMaster.com. It's the Myo Ice that you want.
Yeah.
Actually, we just the chiller. So we're the first in the world to launch a milli chiller that's compatible with any small ice bath, or actually up to 700 liters, so the bigger ones too. And you connect it, you can set the temperature on there, and then you'll know exactly what temperature you're doing it at, and you can maintain the temperature. So I think ours at home is about 2.5 degrees right now.
Wow, that's really cold. That's really cold. That's I think mine was about 9 degrees this morning. Just
that still feels cold though.
Oh no, it is. Yeah,
it still feels really cold.
Yeah, Yeah, so it is still cold. But in the summer, with it outside, it can be challenging to get it cold enough. So actually, I'm certainly going to be looking at that product. Just to finish off today, you did comment on people starting a business that actually they probably need to be aware that this is potentially going to overtake your life for a short period while you grow it. But what are your top tips? What else do you think people should be aware of thinking of starting a business, or perhaps are in that first year and are a little bit overwhelmed by how it's taking over their life? What would you say?
I would say a couple of things. Something that I try to remind myself of every day is enjoying the journey, sure, which I'm not particularly good at, but I'm working on it. Sorry, there's people going in and out of the office.
That's all right. No worries at all.
It's busy. So enjoying the journey, I think it's a really special thing to be able to build your own brand and your own business. And sometimes you lose that in and amongst the stress and chaos of it. And certainly now we're a couple of years in, looking back at where we've come from and where we've got to is something I'm really, really proud of. The second thing is, like we said, I think be really clear about your goals. Do you want to really scale up a business? Do you want to run a lifestyle business? And I think once you know that, it can make the journey a lot easier. And then the third thing is people will tell you it's a bad idea. People will tell you they're not going to invest in it. People will tell you this is never going to work. We got told so many times, nobody cares about recovery enough to make this a thing. It's not a thing. Normal people don't care about recovery. It's an elite athlete thing. It will never be mass market. We got told the name was terrible. We got told the idea of having several products would never work. And it is working. So, and I think that's true of most people's business ideas, is that they get rejected. They always do. People will tell you it's a terrible idea, and you have to have complete conviction in your idea. So stay strong, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's very easy to listen to other people's negative talk, but actually, if you've got a vision and you're clear on your goals, go for it.
100%. One other thing I would say as well is that a lot of the content that's out there, a lot of the podcasts that we listen to, probably even this one to an extent, makes it sound like everybody's doing amazingly and their businesses are scaling really fast. And I can't tell you, just to be totally honest, especially in the first 2 years, how many times we nearly ran out of money, how many times we were sitting there how are we going to get to the end of the month? How many times, we had self-doubt. So I think, whoever is out there in their early years, please don't think that you're not doing as well as everybody else, because every entrepreneur I know is it's a shit show behind the scenes. It's not going well.
I can endorse that 100%.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all put out the glossy stuff.
Yeah. I think that's probably, one of my bugbears with social media actually still. And we spoke earlier, didn't we, about, morning routines and, looking at these, the hustle culture of male entrepreneurs. And actually, that might be a 1%, but actually for the majority of us who have real lives, who live in real communities, actually growing a business and building a business is tough. And I mean, part of the idea behind this podcast is actually to show a little bit of vulnerability and to not just be go out and smash it, get up at 4 a.m. and work for it. That's not real life. You can't do that long term. None of us are scared of a bit of hard work. I don't mind working hard, but there has to be a bit of balance in there because otherwise there's no point. If you end up burning out, regretting everything, resenting everything, literally there's no point.
I agree with that. Absolutely. Good note to end on.
Yeah. Lottie, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all the best with the future growth, and I look forward to seeing the new products next year.
Next to your ice bar. Christmas
I know. Present. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Balanced Ambition podcast. I genuinely hope the stories inspire you as much as they inspire me. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with a friend. And remember, by subscribing, you won't miss an episode, and it would truly mean the world to me. Stay balanced, and I'll see you next time.